When it comes to historic American sports cars, no one can deny that the Chevrolet Corvette sits at the top of the mountain. With a history that runs all the way back to 1953, Chevy's Halo car has had plenty of rare and special models released throughout the years. And today, we'll explore some of the most coveted ever made. 1996 Corvette Grand Sport, 1,000 units. Kicking off our list is the swan song of the C4, the 96 Grand Sport. Limited to just 1,000 units, this was launched alongside the equally rare Collector Edition, as the final two models of the fourth generation of Chevy sports car that had been on sale since 1983. The biggest thing that distinguished the Grand Sport from other C4s on the road was the eye-catching exterior. All 1,000 examples were painted in an Admiral blue with a white stripe down the middle, the same paint job that the 5 original Corvette Grand Sports wore back in 1962. The addition of rear fender flares enhanced the aggressive look, while special extra-wide black wheels lifted from the ZR1 added a sporty touch. On the inside, you could get red leather seats as an option, adding a bold accent to the overall design. Notice the theme here? Red, white, and blue? Only offered as a 6-speed manual, the Grand Sport had a higher output LT4 5.7-liter V8 under the hood. This put out 330 horsepower and 340 pound-feet of torque, which means that the 0 to 60 sprint took only 5.1 seconds. Available as a coupe or convertible, the 96 Grand Sport had an MSRP of $44,000, about $3,500 more than a base Corvette. Today, prices have fallen below $50,000, making it an affordable piece of Corvette history. 1963 Corvette Z06, 199 units. 1963 was the first year that the high-performance Z06 package was offered to the masses, and only 199 lucky people ticked this box when ordering their brand new Corvette. Although 15 Z06s had already been produced by the end of 1962, these units were strictly distributed to a select group of racers who were pre-approved, making the following year's Z06 a turning point in transforming the Corvette into the nation's sports car. Opting for the Z06 package in 1963 got you the L84 V8 with 360 ponies, a healthy 20 horsepower bump over the L76 engine that came in other Corvettes at the time. This extra boost in power was unlocked by the inclusion of Rochester mechanical fuel injection, along with a more performance-oriented exhaust manifold. The modifications weren't limited to the engine, however, as the Z06 also got upgraded steel brakes with a dual-circuit master cylinder, an anti-roll bar that was 20% larger than on a regular 63 Corvette, and a set of heavy-duty shocks for a sporty ride. On the outside, there weren't any obvious signs on the Z06 that gave it away from a regular model, but if you have a keen eye, the fuel injection emblems on the fenders would tell you all you needed to know. Opting for the Z06 package would have cost you an extra $1,293 back in 1963, but nowadays, be prepared to part with over $200,000 for one of these historic sportsters. 2008 Corvette 427 Limited Edition, 505 units. Only 505 examples of the 08 C6 427 Limited Edition exist, 427 for North America and just 78 for the rest of the world, making it another historic model in Corvette history. The special crystal red tint coat paint was handpicked by Will Cooksey, the manager of the Bowling Green Corvette plant for 15 years, who retired in 2008. In addition, each 427 limited edition was hand-signed by him and was individually numbered, adding to this Corvette's rarity. Powering the 427 was the monstrous 7-liter V8, which was the same you got in the base Z06, putting out 470 torque and 505 horsepower, which perfectly synced up with the overall production number. With a 0 to 60 of just 3.4 seconds and a quarter mile of 11.7, this was one of the fastest American cars around at the time of launch, more than living up to the name of the legendary 66 to 69 high-performance Corvettes it pays homage to. On top of the special red paint job, all 08 427 Corvettes featured a black hood stripe reminiscent of the 67 427 Stinger hood, 427 badging, and exclusive wheels. Inside, it featured a distinctive titanium leather finish, Z06 sill plates, and 427 embroidered seats and floor mats. The window sticker read $84,195 when the 427 limited edition left the factory floor, and one of these babies can cost north of $50,000 on today's market. 1971 Corvette LS6 454, 188 units. When it comes to historic Corvettes, we can't help but notice that the C3 often gets overlooked, but you'd be foolish to discard the 71 Corvette LS6 454 as just another third gen, especially considering that only 188 were ever made. With the American automotive industry changing around it, this was the last Corvette to have a high-compression engine under the hood for 30 years. The LS6 revved to 6,500 RPM, putting out an impressive 425 ponies and 475 pound-feet of torque, a feat that wouldn't be matched until the 90s came around. An 800 CFM Holley carburetor sat on top of the cast iron block, which was upgraded with forged aluminum connecting rods and a forged crankshaft to handle all that power. The engine could be had with either a 3-speed automatic or a 4-speed manual transmission, and under the right conditions, this vet could hit 60 in 5.3 seconds. Chevy was subtle with the design once again, but the best way to tell apart a 71 LS6 454 from its regular brethren is the raised hood with dual air scoops, flanked on either side by special 454 badges. In its heyday, the LS6 454 carried an MSRP, which is equal to about $46,000 in today's money, which seems like an utter bargain compared to the $150,000 they're worth today. 1993 Corvette ZR1 40th anniversary, 245 units. You can bank on any anniversary Corvette model to deliver the goods, and 1993's ZR1 40th commemoration certainly did. Of the 488 ZR1s released in 1993, only 245 were equipped with the 40th anniversary package, making this one of the most coveted models of the C4. This special C4 could only be had in ruby red metallic, and the interior was covered in matching ruby red leather. It also has special power-operated bucket seats, with the 40th Anniversary Edition emblem embossed into the headrests. This ZR1 was also one of the first models in the lineup to have remote keyless entry, but that's not what you're here for, right? Grunt came from a Lotus-developed LT5 V8 making 405 horsepower, but the most impressive aspect of it was the handling. Both suspension and steering were improved by the experts from Lotus Engineering, making this one of the best handling vets of that generation. It was one of the fastest sports cars of the era too, topping out at an impressive 179 miles per hour. Prices have come down to around $35,000 from the over $60,000 these cost back in 1993, so if you want to pick one up, there's no better time than now. 1957 Corvette Air Box Roadster, 43 units. With a name like Air Box attached to its name, this C1 Corvette is sure to turn some heads. But don't go around thinking that it has a massive air intake like F1 cars back in the 70s though. The 43 1957 Corvettes that had this package came with a unique fiberglass intake on the driver's side inner fender, which fed denser air to the fuel-injected 283 small block V8, producing more power than its counterparts. These cars were built for the racetrack and scored dozens of victories around the nation at their peak. 283 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque are impressive numbers today, so you can imagine how impressive these cars were for 1957. A 4-speed manual was the only transmission on offer, and in typical Corvette fashion, power was delivered strictly to the rear wheels. In addition to the unique cold air intake system, the Airbox package also brought along a steering wheel-mounted 8,000 RPM tachometer, revised spark plug wire routing, and a heavy-duty engine mount on the right side. Oh, and the heater and radio were chucked out for extra weight savings. Being a first-generation model and with just 43 units ever made, this is unarguably one of the most valuable Corvettes on the planet. Examples have traded for over $500,000 in the past, and you can bet the prices will continue to go skywards in the future. 1975 Corvette Greenwood Sportwagon, 25 units. We're so used to Corvettes being sleek two-door sports cars, so imagine what people thought when IMSA driver John Greenwood came out with a 25-strong run of C3 shooting brakes. John took a regular 1975 Corvette and pulled the roofline back, giving it new glass windows at the back and even a rear hatch. A rear spoiler put the cherry on top. And while it may look bizarre, You can't deny that this conversion made the Corvette more usable than it had ever been. Power came from the same 5.7-liter V8 and automatic transmission combo that you would find on other Corvettes at the time, but with the added weight of the hatchback, 0 to 60 would take slightly longer than 7.7 seconds. With only 2 of the original 25 sport wagons currently in existence, it's hard to put a price on this special Corvette, but recent estimates have put the value at around $35,000, which is big money for a C3. 1992 to 95 Corvette ZR1, Callaway Supernatural CR1 490, 17 units. If you know anything about Corvettes, we can bet you've heard about Callaway. Their Supernatural series of Corvettes, which were made from 1992 to 95, are some of their most memorable models, and from them, the ZR1 CR1 490 stands out as the most special, with only 17 units ever made. The Supernaturals were a rare breed of Corvettes, with a highly modified, naturally aspirated LT5 V8 putting out a mind-bending 490 horsepower and a performance-tuned exhaust. In typical Callaway fashion, the CR1 came with the signature aero body, with wider stance, redesigned taillights, and unique lightweight wheels. On the interior, the Supernaturals got a full leather interior, which was miles above what you would expect from a tuner Corvette. Originally carrying an MSRP of nearly $70 grand, these regularly change hands for over $80,000 in today's market. 2023 Corvette Z06, 70th Anniversary Edition, 17 units. The 23 70th Anniversary Edition Z06 is the most recent Corvette on our list, and with this being a C8, it is the only mid-engine Corvette in here too. Built to commemorate the legendary nameplate's 70th birthday, this special machine is offered in 2 exclusive finishes, Carbon Flash Metallic and White Pearl Metallic Tri-Coat, with a stripe kit in complementing colors also on offer to add to the aesthetics. All 17 40th Anniversary Corvettes also get an exclusive set of wheels with commemorative center caps, 70th Anniversary Edition badging, and special Corvette logos on the front and rear. On the inside, you get 2-tone leather seats, red accents, and some tastefully placed 70th Anniversary Edition logos. Chevy will also throw in a set of custom luggage, just like you get on some Italian supercars that the C8 goes up against. Don't think that this is all show no go either, as the 70th Anniversary Z06 has the performance to stick it to the big boys. Power comes from a 5.5-liter naturally aspired V8, mounted behind the driver for optimum weight distribution. We're talking a beastly 670 horsepower and 460 torque, with the 8-speed dual-clutch gearbox taking care of lightning-quick shifts. 0 to 60 comes in a hair over 2.5 seconds, and if you've got the balls to keep the pedal to the metal, this Vette won't run out of steam until you hit 195 miles per hour. The 70th Anniversary Z06 carried an MSRP of $126,000 at the time of launch, and being produced in such limited numbers, the value will continue to grow in the future. 1969 Corvette ZL1, 2 units. Many enthusiasts call the 1969 ZL1 the holy grail of Corvettes, and with only 2 ever made for the public, it's hard to disagree. It replaced the legendary L88 at the time of launch, and with a hefty price tag that was twice that of a regular C3, explains why only 2 were sold. What makes the ZL1 a legend in Corvette circles is the all-aluminum 427 cubic inch engine, which weighed an incredible 100 pounds less than the legendary L88 that it replaced. With open chamber heads, a dry sump oil system, and beefier connecting rods, this engine was a force to be reckoned with. While officially rated at 430 horses, the actual power output was well north of 585. Making it one of the most powerful street cars ever made in the 60s. Chevrolet co-developed this monster power plant in cooperation with racing legends McLaren to be raced in the SCCA Canadian-American Challenge Cup Series, and with a 0 to 60 time of 4 seconds on the road, these engines were more than competitive on the racetrack. The quarter mile went past in a hair over 12 seconds, which was a feat that lesser Corvettes could only dream of at the time. With the most exotic and powerful Chevrolet engine of the era under the hood, the ZL1 is as valuable as they come, with the most recent sale of the '69 ZL1 Corvette crossing the $3 million mark. So if you're dreaming of making one yours in the future, you better start saving up. Which of these ultra-rare Corvettes tickled your fancy the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to PowerZone TV for more.